And I'm not talking like prisoners, like prisons where they're going to be there for a long time. I'm talking like the jails before people are tried and stuff.
Okay.
And they go in there and they like they'll set these guys into the jail, and then they're all broken into races.
Uh-huh.
The whites, the Latinos, and the blacks. And whichever race you're in, you have a head guy of your race, and he'll come over and he'll brief you on the rules.
Uh-huh.
And if you break the rules, they punish you, and they punish you within the race. So as to, I guess, to prevent any race conflict. Like if you disrespect somebody in the black group,
Right.
what they do is they take you into the bathroom and they punch you in the face as hard as they can. And that's your punishment.
Oh. Well,
And yeah, and they have a set of rules, and it's a long list of complicated rules. And if you break these rules, that's what happens to you. They hold you up, and they just punch you in the face. And it's like, oh my god!
Could you just do it in the arm?
Yeah, yeah. And the one we saw, this kid just got there, and he wasn't very old. He was probably maybe 21. I think he was arrested for DUI.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
first thing he did, he didn't say anything I thought was disrespectful. Apparently, it was either Latino or blacks. He said something they thought was disrespectful, and they brought it to the white guy, the head white guy, and the white guy said, this is what's going to happen. And then I guess they talked it over, and maybe this is because the cameras were there too, but they talked it over and said, well, you didn't really know the rules, so we're going to give you a warning for this one, but if it happens again, it's like, the guy's like,
So in
thank you.
order to keep the peace between the races in the jail,
They beat the hell out of it. Their own. Yes.
The Latino guy would say, "Hey, this guy disrespected me. You guys need to handle this."
Yes, you handle it, and each race will handle their own people.
Oh wow! So it's not even like you could get away with it because you did it to another. Say the Nazi guy did it to the Mexican guy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get away with that.
No, the Mexican guy the head Mexican guy will go to the head white guy and say, "This guy,
Take care of it." Wow!
Yeah,
or there's going to be big trouble.
Yeah, basically, and so they
Wow.
I forget what they call it. They have a name for it, but they had this like a sheet with the rules on it, and it was just bizarre.
Wow!
Yeah, and they tell them like you have to shower. I think they shower every other day or every 3 days.
Oh, so you're planning on being dirty and not getting raped? It's not going to work.
Yeah, because they'll punch you in the face. Well, I guess you won't get raped. You get punched in the face.
Then rape you.
Then rape you.
So
yeah, I don't know how much. Now this is all. And the other thing is they're not in cells. This is all one big open area. So there's no way. I mean, it's just a big open room with bunk beds everywhere. So there's no protection. I mean, you can't even hide in your cell and just get raped by one guy. You've got the whole group that's got access to you all the time.
Oh my goodness!
And the guards pretty much know what's going on. I mean, these guys are walking around with rules and sitting down and talking to them, so they know what's going on. And I guess they let it happen, just maybe to keep the peace, because they'll take them in the bathroom where there's no cameras and no guards, I guess. And
my goodness! I've heard some things that actually the prison rape thing, they might keep it under wraps. It's not like not everybody. It's the rumor thing, but.
Oh, I think it happens. It
happens, but it's not even like people don't admit it. People don't say about it. Even the guards don't really know about it.
I think they turn their back to it, or
right.
Because nobody's gonna tattle and say Bubba raped me, because Bubba's gonna get a week in the hole and then he's gonna come out and Bubba's gonna kill you.
Right, and you got witnesses who will testify that it didn't happen.
Yeah,
you're like, no, you saw it. It did happen.
Yeah. And I'm bleeding and stuff.
Look, there's blood.
My butt. Yeah.
It's
not supposed to happen.
Usually,
Yeah.
It's like, you ask the doctor, how much blood should be in my stool?
Yeah.
This is a little bit unusual.
Yeah. Definitely not good. Not good.
But yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, dude, hate crime's a crime,
But I agree with you. Crime's a crime, but do you also want to send the message if it's... Because I think sometimes they look for hate crime. They don't look for them, but it's not always a clear cut. Like this one. Is it a clear cut hate crime? I don't know.
I think.
Like, let's say the Matthew Shepard thing. I don't know if you remember that one.
And I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Where they took him out to a fence, beat him close to death, and just left him to die.
Right.
And because he was gay, and that was a hate crime. When a group of guys drags you out in the middle of nowhere and does that to you.
Right. Or what about they? Now here's the thing that down in Texas, right? The guy, they drugged the guy behind the truck.
Yeah. That's.
Well, there's a little bit more to that one than I knew, and the fact is that guy who they did that to was a rival prison gang guy.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and so there might have been more to it than just general. Then it'd be it was probably a black thing, but it's probably a black-white gang thing.
Gang thing, yeah.
Yeah, so.
But that was just gruesome. I heard the details for that one. And that was.
Well, what else do you need to know other than getting drugged behind the truck?
Well, I don't think people realize what happens to a body when it's dragged behind.
It's not a good start to the day. I saw Ben-Hur.
But I don't think. I heard the details, and what happens to a body when it's dragged behind a truck like that is not.
Don't your arms come off?
His head came off. He ripped apart completely. It was just like gruesome.
Wow.
And it's just like, the thought of how you could do that to another person is just, oh.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, that's another thing is people gotta consider the fact, their actions have consequences.
Oh yeah, but what consequence? The death penalty?
I think they got the death penalty. I think that's.
But even that lethal injection. Even that. If you just try to imagine yourself as the guy being pulled behind the truck, the pain has got to be just.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. You got to realize that, even when let's say you're getting robbed or something like that, or whatever, and people start to tie you up, and it's kind of, or you're getting forced to dig your own grave. I think it might be time to make a break for it, or give it that old college try.
Well, there's that point where, you have to do something, or you're going to end soon.
Yeah, it's not being compliant is not going to. Now that's the crazy thing. Now this kind of, we're speaking of hate crimes and everything like that. So I read the book. Night. Oh man!
I believe there's a submarine at your door, Leonard.
Yeah, somebody's submarining me. The book Night actually talks about when they eventually took the Jews to the camps, and it had been a slow and steady encroachment upon their civil liberties.
Right.
And the young guys had knives and weapons and whatnot as they were being carted off, and they were like, hey, we're gonna, I don't like this. We're being taken from our home. They didn't have a chance. You can't knives against machine guns. There's nothing you can do. Well, no, but there's that thing. Do you at least fight, or do you go down fighting, or do you go down with your hat in hand?
Well, part of it. They don't know. They didn't know what was going to happen to them. They knew it wasn't going to be good.
They knew everybody who left did not come back.
Right, but they didn't know what happened to them for sure. And you don't want to. You want to think the best, not the worst.
There were rumors.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, so the old guys told the young guys, no, it'll be okay. If we just do what we're told, it'll be okay. And it's just one of those things.
Now I'll tell you, this is interesting. I stumbled yesterday. I stumbled across the Oprah Winfrey Network. There's a show on there. I don't know why it was on the Oprah Winfrey Network, but a show called Escape or Escaped, something like that. Escape, one of those. And it was basically like a docudrama, stories of people who had been taken and managed to escape from their captor. And the first story was about a woman in Philadelphia who had been taken brought down to this guy, took her in, brought her down to his basement, and chained her up, shackles, handcuffs, and he had like 4 other women down there.
Oh wow! Were they alive?
Yeah. They were alive, and he was torturing them, and he was very weird, and he tortured them, and then as punishment, if they didn't do what he wanted them to do, he'd throw them in the hole, which is like a hole in the basement floor that he had dug. Wow. And yeah, he was brutal to him. And so this one woman, this is the one who escaped. The thing he would do, he knew that if they worked together, if they got together, they would somehow take over, or not take over, but maybe get the upper hand on him at some point. He was pretty smart on how he did it. He was very maniacal. He always kept the key for the handcuffs upstairs. He would never come downstairs with it unless he was actually unlocking them. But when he was going to give them a beating, he wouldn't give them the beating. He would make one of the other ones give them a beating.
Oh, dude, that's classic. That's classic.
And it would turn, it also turn them against each other. So they would never, group and build any strength.
Right.
And so he would keep doing this. Now the one, and they had been down there a long time.
How long?
4 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So the one, now one of them died actually. And this is, you may turn your radios down if kids are on or anything like that, because this is going to get kind of gruesome. One of them he beat. He electrocuted them with his punishment. They were in chains. And he would put them in water and then hold the wires to their chains.
Right.
And one of them died. So he took her out, brought her upstairs, and then you see the neighbor. The neighbor says there was a smell, an awful smell, and she called the police because the smell was so bad. Police came to the door and she said, whatever the guy's name was, Robert. And what are you doing in there? What is that smell? And he says, oh, I burned a pot roast. And the cop was, okay, went off. What he was doing was cooking. He cut up the woman that died, cooked the meat off the bones, put it in a food processor with hot dogs, ground it all up, and then fed it to the other women.
Where was this? What are you talking?
This is in Philadelphia. This is I hadn't heard it either. This is in Philadelphia, and I want to say 1995. It was 1995.
So it's while we were in the military.
Yeah, yeah. We could have missed it easily, yeah. So this the woman that escaped ended up gaining his trust. She would comply with what he would ask her to do, and she didn't try to escape. She would just do what he said, and she would try to befriend him and gain his trust until the point where it became, it was like he was like her, she became like his girlfriend.
Right.
And he would actually take her out to dinner. They would go out to eat and stuff. And she wouldn't do anything. She wouldn't try to escape because she was afraid. He wouldn't take her eyes off her, for one. And she didn't want to do anything for fear of the other women that were still trapped in the basement.
Right.
So at one point she said, can I go meet with my family? Because I haven't seen them in so long. And I need to go alone because if you went with me, there'd be all kinds of questions and it wouldn't work. And she had, played into this so much, he trusted her so much that he said, okay, I'll wait here at the gas station. You go to your family's house and meet with them and come back.
Yeah.
So she walked off, went to a phone booth, called 911. They came. At first they didn't believe her at all because, this is an insane story that, she's been trapped and locked in a basement for 4 months with women in chains and everything.
Right.
So they said the detective says, let me see your ankles. She pulled up her pants and she had the worn
bruises,
wear marks, the bruises from the shackles. I said, okay. So they went over to the gas station where she said he was, picked him up. He was there and they arrested him, went to the house, and they found the whole thing and it was just a nightmare.
Wow, man.
Now,
I tell you what,
she survived and she escaped by being compliant and doing what he said and keeping him happy.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you never know. But on the other hand, there's the next story. This is a crazy one. This kid stays up late watching TV on the couch, right? He's going to watch a late movie. His parents say, okay. Middle of the night, he's falling asleep, watching TV. Somebody feels somebody picking him up, and he figures it's his parents carrying him to bed. I think he's 14. I think he said he's 14 years old. seemed a little big for me, but his parents are carrying him to bed. It was middle of the night. But next thing he knows, he's like outside, and the